I took over my late aunt's estate as executor. Everything was going smoothly until her daughter accused me of hiding assets. She claimed I sold jewelry, took cash from her mattress, and stole bonds. I offered to open all records. Instead, she posted on Facebook, "Some family members just wait for you to die." When the lawyer showed up with CCTV footage from my aunt's home, she was the one caught on tape, 2 days before the funeral, carrying out boxes. Now she's silent. But I'm not done yet. When my Aunt Marie passed away last spring, it hit me hard. She wasn't just an aunt to me, she was like a second mother. I grew up without much family, so the few close ones I had meant everything. Aunt Marie never married, and her only child, my cousin Bridget, had always been difficult. I was named executor of Aunt Marie's will. She made it clear years ago that she wanted me to handle everything because she didn't trust Bridget with money. I didn't ask for that role. I didn't want her money. I just wanted to respect her wishes. Aunt Marie's house was a small brick ranch in Dayton, Ohio. Nothing fancy, but well kept. I had been staying there off and on during her last months when she was sick. After she passed, I moved in temporarily to sort out her estate and sell the property. Everything was going smooth, or so I thought. I inventoried everything: jewelry, bonds, cash, even the stash she kept hidden in the back of her closet behind old photo albums. I filed every document, took photos of all valuables, and locked everything in a fireproof safe. I even made copies for the estate lawyer. Then about 2 weeks after the funeral, Bridget started acting weird. She stopped responding to my texts about the estate sale. Then one morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Family members were tagging me in Facebook posts. Bridget had posted something like, "Sad when family can't even wait for you to be buried before they help themselves to your things. Some family members just wait for you to die." And she tagged me by name. I was stunned. People were commenting, guessing what had happened. Some were messaging me, asking if I had really stolen from Aunt Marie. I called her. No answer. I texted her, offering to meet, offering to show her every receipt, every inventory list, everything. No reply. Then the accusations started coming through others. "You took Aunt Marie's jewelry. You sold the bonds without telling anyone. You emptied the mattress." I couldn't believe it. After everything I had done, after all the nights I stayed with Aunt Marie when Bridget didn't bother to visit, the estate lawyer, Mr. Halprin, told me to stay calm. He asked me one simple question: was there any security at the house? Turns out, a few months before she passed, Aunt Marie had installed a Ring security system. I didn't even think about it because it was more for her to feel safe at night. I had disabled the alarm system after she died, but the security company had cloud footage saved for 30 days. Mr. Halprin subpoenaed it. When we got the footage, I felt sick to my stomach. 2 days before the funeral, while I was still planning the service, Bridget had gone to the house. She used the spare key Aunt Marie gave her years ago. She wasn't mourning. She wasn't sitting in her mom's favorite chair. She was carrying out boxes, big plastic tubs, garbage bags full of stuff, a few small safes. Over 2 hours, she emptied damn near half the house. The footage showed her stuffing things into the trunk of her car, looking around nervously. She even took the old mattress. It was all there, time-stamped, crystal clear. Mr. Halprin called for a meeting. He invited Bridget. She showed up, acting cocky, with a smug smile like she was about to watch me get destroyed. She brought a friend. Some random guy, maybe her new boyfriend. We played the footage on a big screen in the lawyer's office. The room went silent. Bridget's mouth actually dropped open. The color drained from her face. She didn't say a word. Her friend awkwardly shuffled in his chair. Mr. Halprin, calm as ever, looked at her and said, "Would you like to adjust your statement before we proceed with criminal charges?" She shook her head. She couldn't speak. She just grabbed her purse and left. I thought that would be it. I thought at least she'd apologize. Nope. She went dead silent. No Facebook posts. No phone calls. Nothing. But I wasn't done. After Bridget stormed out of the lawyer's office, I sat there, feeling weird. You'd think I'd feel victorious, but mostly I felt sick. Betrayed. Angry in a way I couldn't even explain. I had wasted so much time worrying about doing everything right, about protecting Aunt Marie's name, her house, her things. And Bridget had been plotting behind my back like I was the enemy. Mr. Halpern leaned back in his chair and said, "We can press charges. The evidence is clean." I nodded, but deep down, I wasn't ready to let it end there. Not yet. She had humiliated me publicly. She made my whole family doubt me. She made me feel dirty, like I had done something wrong when all I did was honor my aunt. I wanted everyone to know what she did. And I wanted her to feel what I felt. First step. I sent out an email to every family member that had commented, liked, or shared her Facebook post. Attached was a full PDF with the estate inventory copies of all receipts, screenshots from the ring footage, no commentary. No insults. Just facts. Some of them messaged me back, apologizing. Some didn't say anything. A few, like my Uncle Rob, called me and said, "I'm sorry. I should have known better. Bridget's always been like this." Second step. I contacted a local estate appraiser and told him everything that was missing. He helped me file an official police report for stolen property. Third step, I filed a civil lawsuit for damages against Bridget personally. She had no idea it was coming. I found out through a mutual friend that she had been bragging about getting her inheritance early to her bar friends. She sold most of the jewelry at pawn shops in Cincinnati and Dayton. Some of the bonds she had tried to cash in at a shady cash-for-gold place. The police got involved. Turns out some of those bonds were registered and had serial numbers. It was easy to trace. She was looking at grand theft charges now. After the lawsuit hit her doorstep, Bridget lost it. She started blowing up my phone, calling from blocked numbers, texting long, rambling messages about how I was ruining her life, and taking food out of her kid's mouth. By the way, Bridget's kid is 22 and lives 3 states away. At first, I ignored it. But after the third voicemail, where she screamed that she was gonna tell everyone what I really did to Aunt Marie, I saved every message, every threat, every lie. I forwarded them to Mr. Halpern. He smiled when he read them. "She's digging herself a hole," he said. Then Bridget made a mistake even I didn't expect. She tried to file a false elder abuse claim against me. She told Adult Protective Services that I had forced Aunt Marie to change her will. She said I manipulated her when she was weak and not in her right mind. The problem was, Aunt Marie had changed her will 5 years ago, when she was healthy, when Bridget wasn't even visiting her. And Aunt Marie had left behind a video where she sat, healthy and clear-eyed, explaining exactly why she chose me as executor and not Bridget. She even said, "Bridget has never been responsible with money. I love her, but I can't trust her with this. I want me to handle everything." We turned that video over to the APS investigator. Case closed. No abuse. No fraud. If anything, Bridget's false report only helped my civil lawsuit, proof she was desperate and malicious. Meanwhile, the court ordered her to provide a full accounting of what she had taken. She didn't show up to the first hearing. Or the second. The judge didn't like that. He issued a bench warrant. Bridget was arrested 2 months later during a random traffic stop. They hauled her into court in cuffs. I'll never forget sitting there, watching her shuffle into the courtroom in a wrinkled hoodie and sweatpants, looking like she hadn't showered in a week. The judge tore into her for stealing, for lying, for trying to destroy evidence. He ordered her to pay restitution for the stolen items. He also froze her bank accounts until the civil suit was finished. She was broke, humiliated, alone. Her friends bailed. Her online posts disappeared. She even tried to delete the original Facebook smear post, but too late. I had already printed and saved it for the court records. But I wasn't done yet. There was still one thing left that she didn't know about: Aunt Marie's final letter. Before she passed, Aunt Marie wrote me a handwritten note. It wasn't part of the will. It was just tucked inside a birthday card she had left for me. In it, she wrote, "If Bridget gives you trouble, remind her that family is earned, not owed. Do whatever you have to do to protect what's right." I decided to honor that. After the court froze her accounts, Bridget couldn't keep her apartment. She got evicted. I heard through the grapevine that she moved into a rundown motel on the edge of Dayton, out near the airport, the kind of place where they rent by the week and don't ask questions. I didn't feel bad for her. Not even a little. While she was squatting in that dump, I was cleaning up the last pieces of Aunt Marie's estate. Selling the house. Closing the bank accounts. Donating Aunt Marie's furniture to the local church, just like she asked. I kept the video of Bridget loading stolen goods into her car. I kept the screenshots of her Facebook lies. I kept the voicemail threats. I wasn't keeping them because I needed them for court anymore. I was keeping them because I had one last thing planned. Bridget thought if she stayed quiet, if she disappeared, everything would just fade away. Wrong. The civil lawsuit was still moving forward. The restitution judgment from the criminal side was just the start. I wanted her name attached to the truth forever. So I called a few local news stations. Quietly. Anonymously. I sent them copies of everything. The security footage. The court filings. The Facebook posts. The mugshot from her bench warrant arrest. I figured maybe one outlet would run a little story. Buried somewhere. Instead, it exploded. Dayton woman accused of stealing from dead mother's estate, family betrayal. Executor fights back after cousin's Facebook smear. They didn't even have to stretch the truth. Everything was public record. Bridget's name. Her charges. Her lies. All of it. When the stories aired, Bridget lost what little she had left. Her part-time job at a car dealership? Gone. Her side hustle doing hair out of her motel room? Gone. Her name was poison now. Nobody trusted her. Even people who didn't know her personally now knew her as that woman who robbed her own dead mother. She tried to post some sad, crying videos online about how she was being bullied, but it didn't work. The comments tore her apart. People don't have much sympathy for grave robbers. Meanwhile, I took the money from selling Aunt Marie's house, the money that Bridget once thought she was going to steal, and did something Aunt Marie would have loved. I set up a scholarship fund in her name at the local community college for women over 40 trying to go back to school. I made sure Bridget would see the announcement. Her name wasn't anywhere near it. It was all about Aunt Marie and the people who actually deserved help. But Bridget wasn't completely beaten yet. One night, a few months later, I came out of a grocery store and found my car had been keyed from bumper to bumper. Across the hood, scratched deep, were the words, "Thief." I laughed out loud. Bridget was still trying to make it about me. But I didn't report it. I didn't need to. She had already destroyed herself. I took a picture of the damage, filed it under petty crimes, and moved on. A few weeks after the car keying incident, Bridget finally broke the silence. She showed up at my front door. Uninvited. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was home alone, cleaning the garage, when I heard the doorbell. There she was. Standing on my porch, looking rough. Eyes bloodshot. Hair greasy. Clothes wrinkled. She had lost a lot of weight, and not the healthy kind. At first, I just stared at her. I didn't say a word. I wasn't even sure I wanted to open the door. But I did. I wanted to hear what she had to say. Bridget looked down at her shoes and mumbled, "I'm sorry." I didn't respond. I didn't even blink. She kept going, her voice cracking. I messed up. I was mad. I didn't think. I thought Mom would have wanted me to have something. I didn't mean for it to get this bad. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. I let the silence hang heavy between us. She started crying, real, ugly crying. Not the fake crocodile tears she used to turn on when she wanted something. Real pain. Real regret. It didn't move me. After everything she put me through, the lies, the public smearing, the threats, the vandalism, an apology wasn't enough. Not even close. Finally, when she realized I wasn't going to say anything, she choked out, "Please. I have nothing left. Please drop the lawsuit." I shook my head slowly. "No, Bridget. You don't get to walk away from this." She dropped to her knees right there on my porch, begging, sobbing. Neighbors peeked out their windows. Some stood in their yards, watching. I didn't care. Let them see. I leaned down just enough so only she could hear me and said, "You didn't just steal from Aunt Marie. You tried to destroy me. You tried to burn my name because you couldn't stand not being in control. You made your bed, Bridget. Now you get to sleep in it." I closed the door. Locked it. Walked away. She sat out there for a long time, crying. Eventually, she left. But the damage wasn't over. Word spread fast in our community. Small towns like Dayton don't forget things like this. Bridget couldn't get a job. Couldn't rent an apartment without a cosigner. Couldn't even open a new checking account because her credit was wrecked from the court judgments. I heard she was couch surfing between old friends' houses, sleeping in basements, doing odd jobs under the table to get by. Meanwhile, the civil lawsuit moved toward its final judgment. Bridget had nothing left to offer. No money, no assets, no prospects. But the judge still ruled in my favor. She was ordered to pay restitution for the stolen items plus punitive damages for the defamation and emotional distress. Over $100,000. Money I knew I'd probably never see. But it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the record. The judgment would follow her forever. It would pop up every time she tried to apply for a loan, a rental, a new job. Every time she tried to start over, she would have to explain it. Explain that she stole from her dying mother. Explain that she tried to ruin the only person who tried to do right by their family. And there was nothing she could do to erase it. Life settled down for me after that. The estate was fully closed. The scholarship fund was up and running. Aunt Marie's name was clean and honored. But Bridget's life kept sinking. I didn't keep tabs on her. I didn't need to. People told me things without me even asking. She bounced between odd jobs, bartending under fake names, cleaning houses, hauling junk. Once, someone said she was seen selling plasma at a donation center for gas money. Every once in a while, I'd catch a glimpse of her when I was driving around Dayton. She looked like a ghost of the girl I used to know. Skinny, hollow-eyed, beat down. But the final nail, the final revenge, came almost a year later. I was at a small fundraiser dinner for the Scholarship Foundation. Local business owners. Community leaders. Nothing fancy, but a proud moment for me. A woman approached me, someone I didn't know well but recognized from around town. She leaned in and said quietly, "You know Bridget applied for a job at my company, right?" I raised an eyebrow. "No, I didn't." She smiled thinly. She used her maiden name. Thought she could hide from her past. "But we run background checks. Your lawsuit came right up." I just nodded. She continued, "We didn't even call her for an interview. Word gets around, you know." I didn't say anything else. I didn't have to. Bridget had branded herself for life. Not because I smeared her. Not because I lied. But because the truth followed her everywhere she went. 2 months later, I got a letter forwarded to my lawyer's office. It was from Bridget. Handwritten. Pages long. She begged me, truly begged, to release the judgment. She said she couldn't rebuild her life with it hanging over her head. She said she'd lost everything. Friends, work, her health, her future. At the bottom, she wrote, "Please. I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Please have mercy." I thought about it for a long time. Longer than I expected. Because part of me, some old, small part of me, remembered the Bridget who used to play in Aunt Marie's backyard with me when we were kids. Before she got greedy. Before she became a liar. Before she betrayed everything and everyone. But in the end, I didn't respond. Not because I hated her. Not because I wanted her to suffer forever. But because some mistakes you don't get to walk away from. Some scars you have to wear. I left the judgment in place. I left her exactly where she put herself. I moved on. Bridget didn't. And every time she tries to start over, she'll have to live with the memory. She didn't just lose her inheritance. She lost her family, her name, her future, all for a few boxes she stole from a dead woman.